In terms of vehicles and their respected feelings that you derive from them, you typically think of Ferrari and Lamborghinis being emotion-focused, with the orchestral soundtracks and the gorgeous styling and that feeling that you can't really explain behind the wheel. And then you have the other side of that coin, with Porsche, which is very mechanical, very calculated, very much in tune with engineering to the highest degree, with emotion and sensation coming in second. But what if, for a brief period, in the early 2000s, Porsche decided to go to the other side of that coin, and build a car with so much raw emotion and raw energy that it would be one of their greatest models of all time. And yet it's all thanks to an SUV. This is a story of the Porsche Carrera GT. By 1998, Porsche had won Le Mans 3 times on the trot, with the help of TWR and the WSC 95, and then later the 911 GT1. But the GT1 class itself that it raced in got way too expensive, and the Mercedes CLK GTR was way too good, so GT1 was cancelled at the end of the 1998 season due to lack of competitors. So Porsche decided to build a car for the new class, the LMP class, and Porsche realized that the 911 Flat 6 was unsuited to this new generation of prototypes. But luckily, Porsche had a Formula 1 V10 lying around from an abandoned project of theirs. So they built the LMP 2000 for the 2000 season, but a variety of factors, including but not limited to the designing of their new Cayenne SUV, meant that the LMP 2000 never got to race. But in a twist of irony, the production of the Cayenne that killed the LMP program actually saved the project that would become the Carrera GT. Because the year that the LMP 2000 was cancelled, Porsche also unveiled the Carrera GT concept car at the Paris Motor Show. Truth be told, Porsche had very little expectations for the vehicle. They simply made it to draw crowds to their stand. But it was still, at the end of the day, a Porsche, which meant it was fully functional, with a 560 horsepower, 5.5-liter V10 from their, again, ironically, defunct LMP program. And well, if Porsche thought it was just an attention grabber, they were half right. It certainly drew a lot of crowds and generated a lot of buzz. So much, in fact, that although they never had any anticipations of it going anywhere, people wanted to buy it. But Porsche simply didn't have the finances to build a low-volume supercar like the Carrera GT. Those are rarely, if ever, moneymakers. So the product was shelved. Until the Cayenne Sport SUV sold like wildfire. Yes, the vehicle that killed the program that gave the prototype its engine was the very savior of said prototype for production. With that sweet, sweet SUV money rolling in, Porsche had the funds required to produce the Carrera GT, and with the green light given, Porsche spared no expense. The Carrera GT had the world's first carbon fiber monocoque chassis, making it weigh just 3,000 pounds, and that was only the start of carbon used, as Porsche fitted carbon fiber reinforced silicon carbide ceramic composite brake discs. That is a mouthful and a half and a lot of technical jargon, but it is a real thing, actually. Google it. And apart from the materials, the GT also had active aero, inboard suspension, and pushrod shocks. And then there was that V10. This must be one of the few examples where the production car was more powerful than the concept, because the V10 grew from 5.5 liters and 560 horsepower to 5.7 liters and 612 horsepower at 8,400 RPM. Porsche, being their usual underrating selves, reported a 0 to 60 time of 3.9 seconds. For the early 2000s, especially in a rear-wheel drive vehicle, that is no small feat. but independent journalists got it down to 3.5, with a quarter mile in under 11 seconds, and eventually reaching a top speed of 208 miles an hour. In 2004, and it's not just a pure dragster, Porsche said it could pull 0.99 Gs in the skid pad, but again, Porsche being Porsche, their lap time at the Nürburgring recorded G-forces of 1.4. And it did a 7-minute and 28-second lap at the Nürburgring, if you're curious, which is still the 58th fastest lap ever recorded. And did I mention, it's a convertible with removable roof panels, which automatically makes it more awesome. Because A, they did all of that while having the handicap of a chassis with a hole in the top, and B, when you take the panels off, you can hear that glorious V10 even louder, and that is an amazing thing. But not everybody agreed. You see, Porsche had planned to sell 1,500 during their production run, and there was certainly a market for it. People loved the Carrera GT, but the US government said otherwise. In 2005, the Fed said that a new airbag system was required in all vehicles starting in 2006, an airbag system that the Carrera GT did not have. Now, Porsche had already built just under 1,300 of the scheduled 1,500, and decided, just cap it there, it's close enough. So when the production ended in May of 2006, 1,270 Carrera GTs were sold. And honestly, as sad as it is that the GT was cut so early in production due to a simple airbag problem, which, by the way, side note, this isn't in the script, but how in the hell did Porsche not figure out a way to work around that, just install a different airbag? I mean, I guess maybe it would have cost too much for the number of vehicles they would have had to sell, because they only had about 230 left in production, but still, it's a shame that a vehicle of such stature was cut down by a simple airbag regulation. But no matter which way you shake it and bake it, the Carrera GT is a bit of an oddball. Normally their supercars are meant to prove something. The 959 was the most advanced car on the planet. The 918 was arguably the best hybrid hypercar we have ever seen. The Carrera GT, on the other hand, it was a race car for the road that wasn't actually designed to race. It was brutal, the power was ferocious, especially during an era where there were no drive aids apart from your hands and your 2 feet. I mean, all of that performance went through a 6-speed manual mounted to rear-wheel drive. In terms of unrefined driving experiences, it makes the 930 911 Turbo look tame by comparison. But that was its charm. Car and Driver called it the finest sports car Porsche has ever built, which is probably why they're some of the most expensive road-legal Porsches in history. One with 250 miles on the odometer sold this January for $2 million. Even the luggage that came with the car sells for $15,000 a pop. It's an enigma in Porsche's lineup. Porsche has always been regarded as almost too mechanical. A brand that focuses on technology and advancement and speed more so than emotion. But the Carrera GT was the exact opposite. It was entirely emotion, the sensation of driving, the sensation of that car roaring behind you in that mid-engine layout. So sure, the 918 is technically its successor with the LMP-derived V8 and the advanced technology and the removable roof, but its technology is so advanced it does not have the same sheer presence and ferocity as the Carrera GT, even if both of them sound amazing.